I made this print a couple of years ago. It's called Turtles in Space, and as I didn't have my YouTube channel yet, didn't record it. Over and over I thought, how did I create this one? Today I'll show you how I found out recently. Hello Gelli fans! Let me first introduce my new shop to you today. I am selling originals and prints, and of some only the prints. A lot of them you have seen me creating here, but also a few others. You can type in this address or just click on the link in the info box below. Please consider getting a piece for yourself and support me. I have stopped working and could do with some extra money for the rather expensive art materials I have to buy. But if you won't buy anything, can't afford it, or for whatever reason, I assure you that it doesn't make an emotional difference for me. I am so grateful that you follow me. All these wonderful comments I get from you guys, giving me the feeling that I can inspire you to do art, which is so important for me. So now for this week's project. To find out how I made this especially dark and interesting background, which I then saw turtles in and some strange spheres, and worked them out, I want to make some decalcomania experiments. I am registering the Gelli Plate because I want to have a generous and large passepartout, and therefore want to print on a much larger paper. I want to have the end product on Fabriano Bristol paper that has 200 GSM and is about 30 by 42 centimeters. The first test, though, I will make on a cheap watercolor paper the same size as the gel plate. I am using the Golden Open slow-drying acrylic paint first, as I think this will work best and I don't have to hurry so much. I will test some other paints later too. Rolling it out with a brayer, rather thinly but evenly. As I think I probably made the turtle structures with some paint-resistant object, and using the decalcomania technique, I will try Deli paper, which is a bit resistant, and later different smooth plastic surfaces. So this is the Deli paper. I don't remember the brand as I didn't keep the package, but in Germany you can use any Butterbrotpapier, or you can try Backpapier, which is baking paper. Don't press it on too hard. Lift it easily, and right away we will test if we get a good impression. Well, this is unexpectedly close for what I'm searching for. It is too dark, meaning I didn't pick up enough with the Deli paper, but it has some promising textures already. Okay, the video's over. Mission completed. No, don't worry. I will do lots more. This is a PVC sheet that served as a glass for a frame. It still has the thin protecting layer on it, meaning I can take this layer off and reuse the plastic sheet. I brayer out the same paint again, a little thicker this time, and then press the plastic sheet on. Note that I'm not rubbing all over, but in certain areas I use different point pressures. That much I could tell from the turtle piece. Different pressure makes more interesting variations. And you probably guessed it, I want to lift the paint off the plastic too, so I'm doing that up here. Sorry, it's a bit off camera. And yes, I like the result. Very nice shapes and spheres. Maybe a little light, but we'll see if the Gelli print is better. Yes. Funny, I immediately thought of the chocolate hills in the Philippines because of the characteristic little hills here. My mind sometimes makes images in split seconds. This is so close to what I want, I will repeat this with a large paper. But now I'll use the Aqua etching ink in black to see whether the ink is more similar to the turtle's piece. The Aqua ink takes much longer to be spread out, but you have to do it. With this ink, it's really important that the layer is thin and even. Now I'm putting the already used PVC sheet on, and I don't mind that there is other color left on the plate. Taking the print with a smaller sheet from the plastic sheet, and I can already see that the effect is very, very different, as I know it with the etching inks. It's always very interesting, but it doesn't have anything to do with the other structures on the turtle's piece. But I can see that the jelly print is going to be very interesting, so I'm using the large Bristol paper now. And it is very, very beautiful. Actually, at the moment, I'm not doing anything with it because I'm stuck to the other technique with the golden open. But it's a nice piece and I'll use it for something later. I want to pick up what's left of the etching ink because it's so interesting. But I'm using the acrylic, the golden open again. This time it's the transparent red iron oxide. And I'm using the same plastic sheet to press on. And as there is still the etching ink on, part of it goes to the jelly plate, and part of the red of the jelly plate transfers to the plastic sheet. Registering the jelly plate again for the big paper and pulling this print. And it is absolutely awesome. This is again not what I wanted to achieve, but it's a mix of the golden open and the etching ink of Aqua, and it's wonderful. You see the gray areas, they're almost like silvery or so. It's a fantastic print, and I'll just keep doing things with it later. Now I'm trying yet another paint by Golden, this time the fluid high flow acrylics. And as you can see, when I spread them, it's like you put some water effect on it, and you don't need the water with this one because it's just resisting on the gel plate itself. You have to be pretty quick to make the effects with a PVC sheet, and it's already looking quite promising. But the problem is that the paint is like curling together. I don't know how to describe it. So you see there's not so much texture on it. I'm registering the plastic sheet now, not using the jelly plate right away, and taking that print with a large paper. And this is also a decalcomania effect, but very different with the fluid acrylics. It looks immediately like a landscape. A little later, I'm gonna put another layer on it. And now I'm pulling the print from the jelly plate, and it's so different from that print from the plastic sheet. I almost can't believe it. Also interesting, but not what I wanted. So it couldn't have been the fluid acrylics. And this is a highly sped up short video about me trying to pick up the black paint from the plastic sheet with the red golden open paint. It doesn't work at all. I just wanted to try this for you so that you see that the plastic is not a good alternative to the gel plate, as you probably knew before. Now I'm finally going back to the first trial, which was the best outcome so far. The golden open paint a little thicker on the gel plate and with a large paper this time. I'm using a softer plastic sheet here and pressing on this rusty gear wheel on top of that, just because I get a little bored with all these monochrome backgrounds. I hope you haven't fallen asleep by now. And this time I'm turning around the plastic sheet with the paint downwards to the jelly plate, just to make another impression that's maybe a little different. And yes, I think this one comes closest to what I want. And I can already see some shapes in it. I can also see the gear wheel impression. It's nice, and I'm going to work that one out. Now for the second print on the fluid acrylic version to finish that landscape. Using the golden open transparent red iron oxide again as the second layer. Note that there is still fresh paint underneath that sheet, and that's gonna pick up some of it in the lower area, which is actually nice for the landscape. And here I have to pick up the jelly plate and place it on the other print because I didn't register that one for some reason. It's not really in the center, so I'm just placing it on where I want it. Press it a little and then lift off again. Always remember to put your gel plate for this on a hard plastic sheet, so it's better to, it doesn't wobble around and everything. Yeah, nice result. And now I want to work out the one that I like the best, which has the most interesting structures. I can see the impression that the steer wheel, the gear wheel made there, and also another impression of that wheel, because I made another print that is not on video with it. And on this side, I see a monkey, but I'm starting with the skull that I'm seeing, where the gear wheel was. It's typical me. I always see skulls. Sorry, but I have to follow it. Once you see it, you cannot unsee it. And I'm drawing the outlines of that skull first to get orientated myself a little bit. And what is important when you work this out, especially with the decalcomania structures, is that you don't draw a straight line. I always go around these little shapes like creases and, you know, go into the creases with the black pencil. And if you do something, that's the good thing about the pencil. You can always erase it. And if you don't like it, you know, just try another form that you see in it. But this one isn't interesting. The eyes that I'm drawing here are not really human. It's more like an alien skull. And the nose is very, very incorrect and not in perspective. And I'm gonna erase all that later. I'm putting some teeth there. And then also highlighting those teeth with the white. That alien skull has to live without his nose socket for a while. The camera didn't record when I started this monkey's head. You can see it on the side there. I just drew in the ear. There's a nose and a mouth. And now I'm coming in with the eyes. Here you can see very well how I go around the decalcomania shapes. That's always more natural than a straight line. Here's something funny in between. I just noticed that the brand of the tissues here is now printed on them. And I wonder if this will print. And I guess yes. And I will try it in some other video. This monkey's head is a little flat, so I'm making it a little larger. And here there's yet another impression of that wheel from previous printings. It was there now. I'm just discovered it now. And yeah, I want to show it as it is, a gear wheel, and fill it in with white. And the other of the 3 gear wheel, remember the first one I turned into a skull, and this is the 3rd impression. And this, I'm giving it a physical shape with the black, but the lower one down there, I'm not giving it a real physical appearance, so it stays more graphic. And I'm working out some more details in the background, some spheres that I like and want to show, as I did with the turtles also. And there's even a little creature there, back there, behind the skull. It seems when I'm erasing, a little bit of the original golden open paint comes off the paper, but it's only a little bit, and I can fill in the darker shapes again. I'm turning the alien skull into a human skull. I didn't like the alien skull so much. Usually when I do something like this, I take some photos, for example, from Pixabay or so, and I draw from there to have, like, not for the real anatomy, but to have a little bit more realistic look. And this time I didn't use any photos, also not for the monkey. And maybe I should have, because I think the skull would have looked better. It's still a little strange, that skull, but I'll leave it at that. So this is it. I'm quite happy with it. What do you think? I will sell prints from this in my shop, and maybe even the original. This turtle piece I have sold already, but prints are available. Next week I will work out another one of the backgrounds that I made today. This one, which turned out particularly nice, I think. I mean, if you're interested. Are you interested? Already looking forward to your comments. See you then. Bye.